The Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke. Rosemary, Maury Amsterdam, Larry Matthews, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo. Today's episode is a look at my list of the top 5 writing staff moments from season 2 of the Dick Van Dyke Show. I love when the writing staff are getting together, when Rob is at work with Buddy and Sally. I think it's some of the great moments of the show. So let's get started. Number 5 is The Secret Life of Buddy and Sally. This is a really great episode. Rob thinks that Buddy and Sally are developing some romantic feelings towards each other and that they're having an affair. So he is very suspicious of them. He knows that they're whispering together. He's listening in through the door. They're going away someplace on the weekends. Buddy is lying to his wife, Pickles. And so he decides to follow them with Laura wherever they're going. And it all turns out that Buddy and Sally are actually performers at a lodge type place on the weekends, and they just didn't want to tell Rob about it. And so it all works out in the end. Number 4 is Jilting the Jilter. This is another great episode. It really focuses on Sally, but Buddy and Rob play a part in this episode. So this man who used to know Rob and Buddy returns, and he's immediately seems like he's interested in Sally. Rob doesn't like the guy at all because back in the day, Rob and Buddy wrote a comedy sketch for this guy, but the man never paid Buddy and Rob for their work. And so Rob is very suspicious of the guy. He knows that he's going to eventually break Sally's heart. But it seems like the guy wants to marry Sally, but it's all for the wrong reasons. He doesn't really love her, and eventually Sally comes to her senses and decides to not marry him. So again, like most episodes, it all works out in the end. Number 3 is I Was a Teenage Head Writer. I really like this episode. It's a flashback episode, so once again, the Dick Van Dyke Show does a great job with flashback episodes. This episode focuses on Rob when he first started working as the head writer of the Alan Brady Show. Buddy and Sally don't like him in the beginning. They don't like that he comes in and he's their boss. Rob acts out a comedy sketch routine in front of Buddy and Sally, but they don't like the idea at all. So they decide to write their own script with their jokes and send it on to Alan Brady. Later that night, it comes back. Alan hated the script. He wants it to be rewritten, and so Rob decides to write the script, putting his own ideas into it, and he puts Buddy and Sally's name on the script. So it's a collaborative project. It comes back. Alan loved it. Buddy and Sally know that Rob is a good guy. He doesn't want to be their boss, and they invite him fully into their office. I have a clip of this scene. Number 2 is The Two Faces of Rob. I really love this episode, but the very beginning of this episode, Rob, Buddy, and Sally are trying to write a comedy sketch, but they're struggling. They're dealing with some writer's block. And so I have a clip of this opening scene. It's pretty great.
We've been pacing like this for 3 hours now. If we don't come up with a sketch idea in about 5 minutes, let's go home.
Good idea.
Wait, I got it.
What?
Look, Alan thinks he's going crazy. He's sitting home and he keeps hearing a train. He looks all over, he can't see it. All of a sudden, his wife opens the door and in comes the train. Right into the living room. The bedroom? The bathroom?
Hey! The whole city of New York breaks out in a rash.
Good.
And everybody starts to itch.
Good.
And Alan plays the doctor who comes up with a solution. He gets an airplane, and he sprays the whole city with calamine lotion.
Hold it. Listen to this. You took the part of that once was my heart. So why not take all of me? I just felt like singing.
They eventually come up with an idea about a wife who can't recognize her husband's voice. And so Rob decides to test this out with Laura. And so he calls her and disguises his voice as this Italian man. And she seems to fall for it, which freaks Rob out. And then we get the rest of the episode. It's so great where Rob is just so like, what the heck is going on? It's just such a great episode. But my number 1 pick is When a Bowling Pin Talks. Listen, this episode is so completely focused on the writing staff. It has to be number 1. So Richie watched a television show about a talking bowling pin. He tells his idea to Rob, who brings it to the office thinking that it's an original idea. He acts it out and everyone loves it. And they're like, well, as long as it's original. I have a clip of this scene where, so enjoy.
Hey, you know what we do? Good. You know what we do? We paint a big number 1 on your chest.
Oh, great.
Yeah, how about we get a red tie, like the ring around the bowling pin?
Red bow tie.
Hey, this could be good.
Oh, Rob, this is a beauty.
Hey, this is what? How do you like that? All week long we work our brains to the bone, nothing. All of a sudden you come in one little idea like that and it practically writes itself.
Boy, you're right. You never know where an idea's coming from. Like last night, I was just talking to Richie.
Oh, what's the difference where it comes from? Just as long as you didn't steal it,
Oh,
who
is that
cares?
Of course, their coffee guy who always comes in and delivers their coffee, he's a comedic character as well. He tells them, hey, that was on a show last night. That's not an original idea. And they're like, oh my gosh, we done goofed. And so they think they're going to get fired. So they go to Alan Brady. They explain what happened. And eventually Alan takes care of it. So it works out in the end. But I love this episode because it's completely focused on the writing staff. So that's it. That's my list of the top 5 moments. I love the writing staff. I love Buddy, Sally, and Rob. They're just dynamic together, work so well, and I just love it whenever the show focuses on the writing staff. I think it's so great. Let me know what your favorite moment is, and I'll be happy to read that. As always, thank you for watching this week's video, and I will have another one next week. And make sure that, like always, remember to laugh often.